Can you imagine living in a place that has brides for sale, vampire graves, or a gate to the underworld? This is the dark side of Bulgaria. Located in southeast Europe, Bulgaria occupies a quarter of the Balkan peninsula as the biggest country within its geographical boundaries. The country's latest GDP was $102.2 billion, making it an upper-middle income country. Despite its economic growth, Bulgaria still has its dark sides. You might think that selling humans has no place in the modern world, but believe it or not, Bulgaria has its controversial bride market in a town called Stara Zagora. The bride market is a long-standing tradition of the Roma clan, which is held on the first Saturday of Orthodox Christian Lent. It's one of the biggest annual celebrations of the community that has drawn international attention. Because the clan doesn't allow dating or socializing with the opposite sex, many young people see the market as a chance to interact with other youths. Every spring, virginal young girls are paraded in front of their suitors, who will then bid on the ones they prefer. The girls are often seen adorned with gold jewelry and long dresses to attract men. These women are usually sold very young, between the ages of 16 to 20 years old. They're often pulled out of school by the 8th grade, as the clan doesn't see education as something important for women. Traditionally, the women's role is to support their husband and family, with no chance of being independent. To get higher bids, the women need to be virgins when they're being sold. Beauty, gold jewelry, colorful dresses, and a better family background will also call for more value. If a bride is deemed as very beautiful, the price can go up to $21,000. Some of the brides are scared to be sold off to someone older, who bids higher rather than the ones they're more interested in by their parents. They're also scared that they won't get any bids from the men if they don't have desired characteristics, such as lighter eyes. Have you ever wondered how to get to the underworld? Well, you should visit the Devil's Throat Cave in Jagodina, Bulgaria. It's a fascinating cave that resembles a devil's head, with a waterfall going down its throat. The enormous cave plunges 137 feet into the Hall of Thunder, seemingly going straight to the depths of hell. The Hall of Thunder houses a funnel through which the water escapes that flows 500 feet before joining an underground river down below. Many people have experimented with pieces of wood, dyes, or others to track its flow, but nothing that fell onto the Devil's Throat Cave River ever surfaces from the other side. One of the most well-known legends related to the cave is the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. According to the stories, Eurydice died soon after their wedding because she was bitten by a snake. Orpheus was stricken with grief and wanted to look for his bride in the underground kingdom of Hades. To get there, Orpheus must go through the sacred river Styx. And the only way to get there is by going through the menacing Devil's Throat Cave. Orpheus managed to get to Eurydice, and Hades allowed him to bring her back with just one condition. On the way up to the living world, Orpheus couldn't look back. Just as they were nearing the exit, Orpheus was concerned that Eurydice didn't follow him and looked back. Tragically, Eurydice had to go back down the depths of the Devil's Throat to go back to the land of the dead due to his impatience. The Devil's Throat Cave is not the only mysterious thing about Bulgaria. The country also has its vampire graves scattered across its territory. So far, archaeologists have found around 100 skeletons that had a vampire burial. Typically, these graves have skeletons with iron rods piercing through their chests, which is a way for people to prevent them from terrorizing the town. The practice is believed to have died out in medieval times, and it was very commonly done by Bulgarian villages until the first decade of the 20th century. Local legends believe that vampires can rise from the dead, killing humans or livestock by drinking their blood. Some believe that the legend of the undead started with the plague that ravaged Europe between the 1300s and 1700s. Grave robbers or undertakers often found corpses with blood-like gastrointestinal purge fluid seeping from their mouths and nose. Because of their limited knowledge of the plague, they believed that the corpses had been going around drinking blood when it was merely a side effect of the plague. Instead of being alarmed, the Bulgarian Ministry of Culture decided to turn the spooky legend into something more productive. They pushed into promoting the vampire funeral sites as an effort to lure tourists. The Bulgarian government is planning to build a giant glass coffin over the largest vampire funeral to draw thousands of visitors a year. As a comparison, Bran Castle in Romania receives around 500,000 visitors every year. That's because the castle is loosely tied to the Bram Stoker's Dracula story. So, maybe they're onto something. Many may not know this, but Bulgaria was secretly involved in nuclear research during the Cold War. Bulgaria was an ally of the Soviet Union, and the country worked closely on a wide range of matters, from abductions, sabotage, assassinations, and even nuclear research and armament. This information was only made available when the Cold War ended, and the archives in Bulgaria were finally made available for scholars to access. According to the information gathered by the Cold War Research Group, Bulgaria had a role in establishing a nuclear power network during the Cold War, from conducting nuclear research to a full-scale nuclear power plant. The country even had short-range SS-23 and Scud-B ballistic missiles that were given by the Soviet Union in 1985 to its allies, East Germany, Czechoslovakia, and Bulgaria. The country finally signed an agreement with the United States to destroy the missiles in 2002, so that they could join NATO. A missile may not be the only dangerous leftover from Bulgaria's communist era. The country was also subject to dangerous pollution from toxic industrial practices. During the communist rule, promises of progress made the people excited for the future. A particular town in the snow-capped Balkan mountains was thrilled when the copper plant first arrived. They were told that the plant would bring new jobs and modern homes. Little did they know that the enormous and shabby industrial compound had been poisoning their land and their bodies with lead and arsenic. The city is not the only one dealing with this issue. Since 1989 and the fall of the communist regime, many closed industrial plants have started to decay and release toxic chemicals into air, soil, and water. The toxic environment caused deformities and cancer, leaving thousands of people sick. The data was first hidden by state-run health facilities to avoid criticism, but it was finally brought into the open by journalists. Nevertheless, it seems that the issue is still ongoing, with authorities turning a blind eye to the health and ecological catastrophe. Another worrying Bulgarian fact is their understaffed healthcare industry. Some even likened the Bulgarian hospital to spinning the roulette wheel, since you'll never know whether you'll meet a doctor, a nurse, or a janitor when you come with an issue. The staff shortage is so bad that during the pandemic in 2020, the country had the highest per capita death rate in the EU. It is found that most hospitals in Bulgaria rely on working retirees, while others are closed due to a lack of specialists. Why is Bulgaria facing this shortage? That's because most of their doctors and nurses leave the country for better-paying jobs in Western Europe. As it turns out, health professionals are not valued enough in the country. Although it takes a lot of effort to become a doctor or a nurse, the salaries are significantly lower than other EU counterparts. Some health workers even took to the streets to raise the minimum wage to merely 460 euros for nurses and 600 euros for doctors. According to Euronews, around 3 out of 4 Bulgarian medical students are tempted to leave their country for Germany, Austria, or other Scandinavian countries. The ones who stay and continue to become health professionals find themselves working double the hours with half the staff they need. The good news is the European Union has given Bulgaria extensive funding to upgrade its medical infrastructure, and the government promised to allocate 100 million euros to healthcare and pay rises. Let's just hope that it's not too late, and that the country will be able to manage its aging population in time. Rich with history and vibrant culture, Bulgaria still hosts dark and mysterious tales. From its controversial bride market to its secret nuclear research, the country paints a complex picture. As Bulgaria continues to grow with unique challenges, let's hope these elements become a part of its transformative future rather than an obstacle.